Okay, so this is a highly spoken about topic these days. We're going to start off by what is robotics and automation. Then we're going to go into benefits of robotics and automation, common warehouse, DC technology issues and their real causes, future of predictive maintenance and warehouse and DCs, warehouse and distribution center housekeeping. We're going to give you a free handout. I'll drop it into the chat box on the right hand. You'll see it there later when we come to that slide. I'll drop in a slide for you on that. Then we're going to go into how a CMMS can improve warehouse and DC management. So afterwards, if you want to ask any questions, please don't use your mic. Make sure you're muted all the time. I do have control over that, but just please, as a courtesy to the presenter, make sure that you are muted. And then we'll have the Q&As. You can pop in the question into the chat, and I'll make sure to ask the presenter. So who is he? Our presenter today is Harry Kohol, Vice President of Business Development. He works with me at Eagle Technology. So Harry has been consulting for over 35 years. He is one of the most knowledgeable people I know in this industry. I'm very excited that he took the time to share his knowledge with us today. So I'm going to hand over to Harry. You can take it away from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Well, welcome. And I'm going to just say that your job's going to be replaced by a robot so we can all go home today. Well, it's not quite that simple. So what are robotics? What's automation? What's all the hype about? Well, you've seen pictures, and we've known for years that welders on the assembly line for automobiles have been replaced by robotic welding machines, and they provide higher quality, they're higher consistency, they're there on time all the time. So what happened to those people that were the welders? Well, they got different jobs. Some of them retired, but some of them became robotic repair people. Okay, so robotics is an engineering and science branch that deals with the design and construction and operation of mechanical equipment. You know, we call them robots, but it's mechanical equipment that can perform repetitive tasks in a consistent manner. We have another component called automation, and that's where we can put sensors and the things called Internet of Things or Industrial Internet of Things sensors on machines and detect vibration and heat variances and things like that. And we're seeing, since the advent of the virus in January, we're seeing companies take a really strong look at the reliability, the costs of upgrading not only their HVAC systems and providing better environments for their people, but replacing those people with machines, robots that can more consistently do a job. It was years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago at least, that I was at a factory, and I think it was in Indiana or Ohio, that they worked in cells. And if a technician needed a part, you know, in the old days, you'd walk to the parts crib, get the part, and come back and do your job. Well, on the way, you'd stop and talk to Pete, and you'd talk to Sally, and you'd go to the men's room or ladies' room, and they found out that that was highly inefficient. So what that company did, and again, this is years ago already, you punch in the part number that you need or scan it in, and a robot will go and get that part and deliver it back to you. Highly efficient, okay? So this is one of the reasons that companies are looking at replacing people with automation. So there's benefits to this, obviously, because there's the cost associated with it. Increase their facility out output or the facility clients that can, they've got mechanical pickers that can pick product, okay, and the robot on a route through shelves, and a person that comes by, they put that sounds simple, but it's highly efficient. So companies are looking at how can I make things more efficient without harming productivity. From an employee standpoint, robotics are going to help, you know, the staffing issue. If your team partner doesn't show product and everybody suffers, we can streamline product picking, as I mentioned before, and we can map out more efficient ways to get products through a facility, and we can improve employee safety. So there are some distinct advantages to employees. Obviously, adding robotics and technology into the organization is also going to create new opportunities and new jobs. And we'll get to that. From the facility side, robotics can help with stronger output capacities. They allow you to better handle inventory. Storage and retrieval systems are a form of robotics that many companies have already put in place. So while we think of robots as these human-looking things, when you think of robotics in a warehouse or distribution center, it's machinery or equipment that's going to stream the process through the organization. Set aisle sizes based on the robot's width to go up and down the aisle. And you can also reduce two-way traffic in aisles so that by shrinking the size of the aisle, you can make better utilization of your space. And you can reduce the need for additional workspaces such as scales and things like that, because they're all built into the robot's sensor system or the conveyor system that's totally automated. But let's get to the real problem. There's some underlying issues of why everybody hasn't replaced all the people in the organization, okay? When I got my master's in liberal studies, one of the things that we always talked about was all of the different aspects of why things are the way they are. So let's look at reality here. There are technology issues and there's causes that relate to these issues, okay? In a recent study, CompuWare, almost 50% of the people reported that their technology problems happen frequently in their organization, okay? What does that mean? Well, the internet is down, the lines to receive orders are down, IT's doing backups and we can't get at the system, or I can't have access to it, okay? But let's look at the real causes, closer look. I've been through a lot of distribution centers, and one of the major problems is wireless instability. So I've got a tech with a handheld device and through the facility, and there's no internet connection in a lot of places. There's dead zones, okay? Well, if I've got a robot to navigate an aisle and it needs that Wi-Fi signal and it's not there, where does it go? Right? Where does it go? So this is one issue. We'll get back to this in a minute. We've got warehouses that need to print shipping labels and scan documents quickly, but there's branch scanner and brand A of brands. This warehouse distribution center for my company uses this product, and over here we use this product, and there's no standardization of products or tools that we are going to use. Okay, that creates problems. And we want to do this robot installation. We want to put these bring vibration and heat sensor data to us from pumps and chillers and things like that. Well, guess what? IT wasn't a part of that plan, and they don't want us putting this little network in, and there's class warfare going on yet. Believe it or not, in the largest of companies, IT is out of sync with plant management and operations. So how do we move forward? Well, it's got to be a coordinated effort. Okay, it's not just plant management deciding that. So it's not just maintenance saying, how do we maintain it? It's got to be a total team effort to automate a distribution center or warehouse in today's environment. And it's going to take innovative thinking. Okay, the way we're doing things today and cannot be the way we are doing things in the future. So we need to look beyond today, beyond next week, beyond next year, and look at how can we increase our productivity, how can we increase our profitability, increase our how can we create services and delivery of our products to our clients? And that begins with adjusting the culture. People are always going to be critical in your operation, and ignoring is what can lead to downfalls in the best system. And you're going to fail. I have seen systems installed where people have seen cultures where the person training is that's a shame. I should have warned you about that. And I'm not being facetious, I'm being real. This team and that are going to drive. So what's the future hold? How do we look into the futures in this unit of maintenance? Well, let's first of all, what is predictive maintenance, right? Predictive maintenance is the ability to take data and monitoring data and condition data of the equipment during its normal operation to reduce the likelihood of failures. In other words, I want to know what's happening for a piece of equipment. Part of the role for fails, so systems, PLCs, they attached to happen, so that I need, so that if I'm adjusting and we nothing works. Okay. And condition monitoring doesn't is the largest organizations. Remote allows the equipment transmitted for establishing a predictive maintenance steps, which include analyzing the need and history of the equipment, reviewing any and all available records on downtime, equipment defects, losses, potential regulation of fines, and workplace safety. Aren't necessarily effective. We potentially should be looking at pilot programs that are long-term, because conditions change over time. If I have a brand new facility and I start condition monitoring, I've got a state that's going to deteriorate over time. That could be a long time. If I select very old, that is the standard, still have the potential for high risk of failure. So seeing how you're to implement condition monitoring programs is just as critical as the use of it in the long term in the organization. And obviously, condition monitoring has to be integrated into your scheduling system, and you have to educate and obtain buy-in from the operations and maintenance people, and conduct ongoing training, and create and integrate with your computerized maintenance management system. So monitoring is being used in manufacturing and distribution facilities, and we know it has an advantage for any facility that depends on the reliability of its assets. So for a warehouse or distribution center with the mission equipment critical equipment that minimize downtime and maximize efficiency, it's certainly going to be a future. A robot running up and down my aisles getting parts. I have these servers trying to send information to me. And what does your warehouse distribution center look like? Too often, and these are not fake pictures, there are pictures that are reality. We see poor housekeeping. Okay, these are definitely examples. First one, the floor is glistening. Okay, and the lighting in many areas make it easy to pick up documents and carton labeling, the lighting, things like that. And you know, it's nice to see in any area there are no broken pallets or pieces of shrink wrap, cardboard or anything on the floor. Create wheels on your fork trucks. And the other centers here that you're seeing, pallet and racking had serious damage, problems from forklift operators. Sometimes it's unsafe and hazardous for employees. And if you don't communicate to management, you don't realize, haven't visited this facility in a few years. Hopefully none of your distribution centers or facilities look like these. But this real pick did happen. Rodent drains, insects are also a serious problem. So if you haven't implemented a pest control program, remember the word bug in computer programs from a real bug that was in a computer. The reality is that insects can destroy robotics. All things where rodents have gotten under the hood of cars and they're eating the wiring. This is real. So we need to make sure that our housekeeping in our distribution center is very, very good. So 6S is a lean strategy. It incorporates the 5 S's of organizing and saying things in a neat and efficient way, along with safety component. Okay. How should identify emphasis quickly and address their root cause, prevent reoccurrence. If treatment is needed, something play the shadow and having them sitting somewhere else. All of these things, these visuals, can be identified quickly and resolved quickly. If a piece of lift equipment is leaking hydraulic fluid or a motor is leaking, you should be able to easily identify those types of things and quickly. So right now in the section or the chat box, you can grab a free assessment check sheet from your chat box.
We'll send it as a follow-up in an email when we send the recording. That will be part of that. So we'll send that.
So let's talk about okay. Well, thank you, Barbara. So talk about a maintenance system like this can improve a waste management system. The Gartner Group looks at gathering intensive performance through a CMMS. You've got historical data, what happened? You've got diagnostic data, why did it happen? And today in Proteus, our system, we have the ability to put the 5 whys as a part of a demand or break fix work order. We want predictive data, so Proteus can interface to our partner HID and other systems to get heat, temperature, vibration, sensing data off of different pieces of equipment. We are Rockwell partner, we can interface to the factory floor and pick up data in real time. And then based on that data, we have prescriptive data. What can I do to avoid it? This is where people come in. You can easily get historical data. You can easily get diagnostic data. You can even easily get the predictive data. But if you don't do anything about it, your robots, your machinery will fail. It'll continue to fail. So these two blue boxes here are critical boxes for the people. As I said in the beginning, robots are going to replace all of us at some point, and we'll even have robots to fix robots. But it will take people to program and create those robots, and so jobs will change, but they will need people. So here's a use case, okay? We've got an integration to one of our partners, Brady Corp's Link 360, which gives you the lockout tagout information that you need. We've got our mobile barcode, QR codes that can detect assets, create work orders, add parts to work orders and things like that. We've got our artificial intelligence chatbot that can analyze and do KPIs and analytics on the data that's collected. We've got maintenance on over 100,000 pieces of equipment just in a single client alone, and they have over 800,000 inventory parts in over 65 locations. Okay. Through 30 locations around the United States, they're distributing and using this system, gathering data to better serve their clients. They do use robotics. They integrate building automation controls so that their HVAC system, their refrigeration, their electric, gas, and water meters are all tied in to that. And they are delivering world-class service to their clients using robotics, using Proteus, using CMMS. So the simple answer about what's going to happen with robotics and automation is companies are going to continue to look at and implement and maintain enhanced robotic and sensor objects operational systems. It's the future. It is happening. It's critical. And there is no magic bullet, but the real magic bullet comes in the people who recognize that communication, training on an ongoing basis, documentation and standards are going to be the critical component in making these systems work effectively. So I want to thank everybody today for coming. If you do have questions in the chat box, you could enter them now. Somebody asked if there's a certificate at the end of the seminar.
Yeah, I've got that one, Harry. So
if you like, okay.
Sorry, we have one or two of those requests. We had it when you guys signed up. We had a request. As mentioned before, if you did not get this notice, please email steve@eaglecmms.com if you need a certificate, and we can produce you one for this webinar specifically. And then, Harry, I've got a question here. Can I pass it on to you? It says, my company just bought 20 pick and place robots. How should I set up my PMs for the robots?
This company just bought what? 20?
Pick and
I'm sorry, I
place.
didn't hear you, Barbara.
Sure. My company just bought
Pick
20,
and place?
Yeah, pick and place robots. How should I set up PMs for the robots?
Okay. Well, good question. The manufacturer of that device probably has a suggested maintenance schedule for them. And it would be critical to work with the manufacturer of the devices to determine what their maintenance plans are. Subsequently, you will have the experience of knowing the environment that these are operating in Just like an HVAC system, if there's a lot of dust in the air, you would change a filter more frequently. The cleanliness and the environment within your organization will determine the required modifications to the OEM maintenance. Again, if there's any kind of sensors or output that these devices can provide you in real time to give you status, that too will be critical. So again, my initial suggestion would be to work with the supplier, the manufacturer, get the standards that they suggest, number one, to cover the warranty, and number two, adopt that or revise it based on your operating environment. I have another question.
Oh, you get
For
it?
the sensors to give accurate data, does your sensor use filter algorithm for data being collected, and what algorithm that it uses? Depending on the sensors that you buy, there can be different heuristics or algorithms associated with it. The product that we use with HID has what we call a learning environment, and that particular product runs for a period of time to understand the environment and what's normal. Assuming that you find the normal range, you can set the range then within normal. And what happens when it starts trending out of what is determined to be normal, we trigger a work order to review. Okay, it may still be fine, but we know that for some reason it trended out of normal. And that's the time to look at it before it breaks. Other sensors don't have that learning capability. Again, it would be very specific with the devices that you're using. But the HID product that we use has a learning period to determine what's normal. Normal temperature, normal vibration. If a forklift goes by all the time, that normal is part of the environment. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody today for attending. Again, people, communication are the critical components to any system. Working with IT to get them to understand the need for their services, and working as a team to make sure that if you need connection, it's where it should be. We work with airports, we work with warehouse distribution centers, we work with a lot of different industries, and communication networks still aren't necessarily in sync with the needs of the organization. I've been through a lot of factories where, again, there's a lot of dead spots. Heavy equipment can block signals. So it takes extra effort to make sure there are no dead spots in a warehouse or distribution facility. So again, thank you for your time today. We appreciate it. And if you have any future questions you'd like to discuss, feel free to reach out to steve@eaglescmms.com. And thank you.
Thank you, Harry, for your time. And again, we'll send the recording and the free assessment on the housekeeping to you in the follow-up email. Thanks. Bye.